Evening and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news and transfer news. I was a little bit late there because I've just heard that Chelsea are looking at Donnarumma now. I mean, this is now turning into FIFA career mode whilst our director of football doesn't exist and the people doing our transfers are relaxed, enjoying the bank holiday weekend. See you next Tuesday. So smile though your heart is breaking.
Oh, I can't
smile even though you're aching. It's the weekend. Smile about that because there's nothing to smile about in relation to Manchester United at the moment and transfers. But there is lots to talk about. I mean, look, somebody said in the live comments straight away, we're being taken over by the Ortega family. They're very rich. They're from Spain. There's some story that they want to buy Manchester United. But I tell you what, how does that even help us if it's true? Which I doubt it is true because, you know, how long does it take to sell a club? It definitely means the Glazers won't spend anything if they're going to sell. But let's be honest, we're not actually for sale. Hi, Mark. I think we need to focus on doing deals outside of England so that we can get players on the cheap. Also, can you call Owen Brady a prat? Says Taki. There you go. Well, there is an update to give you on Jadon Sancho. You know, to be honest with you, part of me is just like, bloody hell, again. But it's been a bit of an interesting day around Jadon Sancho. There's been a few rumours out there. And Dion Doherty says, why Sancho? No player over 85 million has been worth it. Fact, Coutinho, Suarez, Griezmann, Felix, Neymar, Hazard, Mbappe, etc. Flops in the big games. I wouldn't mind Mbappe or Neymar, to be honest with you. But I think there are players over 85 million who've done very well. But yeah, a bit of an odd day around Jadon Sancho today. There's been... Well, look, Crystal Palace bought a player from QPR this morning, Eze, which I think will lead to Zaha leaving. There is a feeling that Zaha may go to Dortmund. I'm not convinced about that, but it could happen. So therefore, there is a bit of a feeling out there that United have had a bid, they've put their bid in for Dortmund, and now Dortmund are going to go and get Zaha. However, that is not. I've not heard anything like that at all. If you follow me on Twitter today at Mark Goldbridge, there was a bit of interaction with Jan Arge Fjortoft, who we've had on from the show before. I know for a fact that Jan has got connections in at Dortmund and in the German media. He would know if there has been a bid by Manchester United for Dortmund. He said it's very quiet. They still want to keep Sancho, and there is nothing about Sancho leaving at the moment. It's very quiet around that deal. Which feeds into what I've been saying for quite a while now. I can't tell you when this deal's going to happen. I want it to happen 3 weeks ago. I think that was the efficient, common sense thing to do. Look at what Chelsea are doing. I think it's a bloody disgrace what we've done this transfer window. And again, unfortunately, it hurts, but we are a business and not a football club. Because when these players do come in, if they do come in, we'll certainly do some business. But when they do come in, it's too bloody late. It's too late. Like they'll be good players when we get them, hopefully, and they will be good additions, but it's too late. These deals should have been done by now. But in relation to Sancho, there is no bid in from Manchester United at the moment. There is no holding off on a deal so Dortmund can do their deal because it's not gone in. And this is the situation from Romano, from Falk, from everybody who's around this deal, and also Fjortoft in Germany and Dortmund themselves. They are not... but the thing is, in fairness, what I would say is you can believe what you want to believe. You can believe it's not going to happen. You can believe it's going to happen. You can believe, well, Dortmund would say that because they've got to sort the Zaha deal out. You can believe what you like. The reality is I'm still 90% this deal is going to happen. I don't see how United can not do it. And I've said that for a long time. And I know how close it is. But I cannot tell you when it's going to happen because there are still 5-6 weeks left of this transfer window. And at this moment in time, as we go into a bank holiday weekend, it is very quiet around Manchester United, Sancho and Dortmund. Man United are relaxed. That's the line they're putting out. Dortmund want to keep him. And there is no bid and there is no noise around it. So look, this is not... It's depressing news, but it's not the end. It's not the end. I was saying today on Twitter, I can't wait till the day that we reveal Sancho as a United player. Because all the banters, all the people who said it wasn't going to happen are going to have to sit down. And I'm totally convinced it's going to happen. Very confident it's going to happen for everything I've been saying for the last few weeks. But to say that it's very close, to say that the deal is nearly done, I mean, technically it is nearly done because it's only one thing United have got to do. But that one thing has not been done at this stage. And look, I hope that Dortmund are going to sign Zaha, and that means that we get Sancho, because it probably will. But it's not as close as people would have you believe. These things can move quickly, but it's not as close as it could be. But it is logical. But there are other players that would make it logical for Dortmund as well. Let's wait and see. Van Hal's statement rings volumes about the board, says Ray S. And love from America, Mark. Thank you for everything you do. I rarely get to catch you live. Would you give up Fred for Grealish to help pay for him? It's an interesting story, that. Leo Taylor says, is it me or does the Sancho saga seem similar to Bruno? Didn't get done in the summer. Fans kicked off outside Ed's house, signed in January. There's no way Dortmund will let Sancho go in January. Different clubs. Sporting, weren't going to win the Portuguese league, weren't going to win the Champions League. Dortmund, I don't think, would do that. Reglan comes in, Luke Shaw left-sided centre-back. He will be solid and we might create more from the left-back position. Not a great idea, but can United do it? Says Daniel, I think you've got no chance of that happening. And Mark, could it be that signing players a month or two before the season starts or the window closes means paying their weekly wages while they haven't kicked a ball? Typical money-saving approach. Look, you know what? We might be waiting to pay their wages to the back end of the transfer window to save a bit of money. We might be saving a bit of money by getting the interest on the 80 million for another couple of weeks. These are things that United would probably do, because the bottom line is, what does Ole Gunnar Solskjaer want? He wants the player in yesterday. What do Man United want? They want the interest on the money. So it's business over football. I said it this morning. Got a lot of time for what Chelsea are doing with Lampard, because we mirror Chelsea. We've got a young manager. We're not backing him. We're not giving him the tools. Chelsea got a young, inexperienced manager. They're giving him every opportunity to be successful. And if Lampard gets sacked at Christmas because he's failed, he can't complain. If Ole gets sacked at Christmas because he's failed, he can complain because he's not been given the tools. And you know what? Even if they give him Jadon Sancho, Benoit Badiashile and Van der Beek on October the 1st, we might have already dropped 6 points by then. And then he's got to try and bed them in when the season's up and running. You know what I mean? Even if they do the transfers now, are they not too late for him to actually do what he needs to do? Probably not too late yet. I think he's probably got 2 weeks where he would like them to be in. But if nothing happens in the next 2 weeks, I think it's just too late. Really, really is too late. Just going back to that point there about Fred for Grealish. This is quite interesting because it's the second time Fred has been linked to a move to Turkey. Galatasaray, again, want to buy him but would like to take him on loan. Now, to me, this would be traumatic in a footballing sense. I don't want to see Fred going. I actually think that Fred, in the 2 games he played CDM, which I think was the quarter-final and the semi-final, I thought Fred played well. Certainly better than McTominay has played in that role. So if Matic is your first choice, and the good news around Matic is that he has retired from international duty, which means he's going to be a lot fresher. And my concern about Matic is his age and decline. So if he's not playing international football, travelling around, this means United benefits. This is positive news around Matic. But you do need a backup for Matic. And I think Fred has shown the capability of doing that. So I don't know where you sit or stand on that, but I personally wouldn't be looking to let Fred go to Galatasaray just for a bit of money, because I think Fred, with all due respect, Fred is a player that has had a good season for us and can offer us something next season. I wouldn't cash in on a player like that who's served the club well last season and keep people like Pereira, who I don't think has served the club well and probably has a value. So I don't want to see a good player going out to bring another good player in, if that makes sense. So I don't want to see Fred going, if I'm honest with you. Congratulations on the Europa League win yesterday and the win today. We all knew you had it in you, says Daniel Luciano. Thanks for the gaming support. That's my Aston Villa career mode on FIFA. And today, for the first time ever, I won on Fall Guys. It was a stunning moment. I was speechless. So thank you, Daniel, for that personal accolade. Currently watching your Fall Guys from earlier. Potential Mark Crown bridge incoming, says Mitchell Bastet. I've ruined it, Mitchell. Sorry. I didn't know people would be watching it back. Congratulations on your first Fall Guys dub. I've got lots of me. Twitch, TUSFC. Thank you, Danny Stuland. If they go for Sancho, it will be the last 2 weeks and then won't sign anyone else, using the Sancho deal as an excuse for lack of time for other deals. Well, we have seen that before, haven't we? Especially with Bruno. Damien M, thank you for that. And I think they will sign Sancho, but they're waiting to the end of the transfer window, says Majid, so they can pretend they put all their efforts into this deal, but really they're just doing it to save money. A lot of people are feeling that. Barcelona will be in for Sancho if Messi goes to Milan or Man City. Are you worried, says Mick McGrath? No, I'm not, because I don't see how Barcelona would afford that deal, but never say never. But it's a good point. You just don't know. If we bought Sancho early, he would have gone a couple of weeks with no football. At least he's having pre-season prep and waiting until we go back to training, says Dilsey. it's interesting. You Pratt, says Mitchell Bassett. It's interesting there. So you actually think it's a good thing that Sancho's training and playing pre-season games with Dortmund, because he'll be getting pre-season in when he couldn't be doing it with United. Hey Mark, when is the Bundesliga starting? Is there a possibility of signing Sancho before the Bundesliga starts? What do you think about Doherty to Spurs? Says Vijayu. And Fred cost 50 to 60 million. He's flopped. Mark, let him go, says Jay David. And it scares me to wonder if Chelsea had been in for Sancho, we would have lost him for sure, and David Brooks would be our up-and-coming potential, says Danielle. Well, look, this is an interesting story as well. It makes more sense for Scott to go on loan to a club and play regular football, says TJ Hogan. So Manchester Evening News, whenever they say Manchester Evening News understands, you can basically take it to the bank that Manchester United have given the information to Manchester Evening News, because they do have a connection. So Manchester, whether it's true or not, it means it's come from the club in my mind. So basically, Manchester Evening News this afternoon was talking about United's options. And what they were saying is Gabriel, who's gone to Arsenal, was never a serious target for Manchester United. And basically Manchester United had been used to force Arsenal to sign him. Now, I would expect that to be coming out of Man United's lips because they didn't get Gabriel. But let's not forget, Fabrizio Romano said twice that Manchester United were in talks with Gabriel's agents. So do you want to pick and choose what Fabrizio Romano is right or wrong about? Or do you want to appreciate that Fabrizio Romano, who's been on this show twice and said this, works tirelessly to make sure that the information he puts out is correct? I would say United had talks with Gabriel and never took it any further because of the financial package. I don't believe personally that what Manchester Evening News have been told, that United never had any interest and it was to bump the price up for Gabriel. And even if it was true, what I would say about that is why, I saw some people on social media going, sit down Arsenal fans, we were never in for him anyway. And you know what my first reaction to that was? Why are we pumping our chests about not being in for a player that we maybe should have been in for? And this is the manipulation of the situation of Manchester United over the last few years. I've seen fans pumping their chest because we didn't want to pay the money for Haaland. Yeah, we won't be able to ransom. I've seen people pumping their chest because we're the richest club in the world and we've got the biggest social media interaction. And I see people pumping their chest because we were never in for him anyway. Ha ha, you've got him. We never wanted him. Well, we bloody should have got him. You know what I mean? We've been manipulated into celebrating failure, ineptitude, because we should have been in for Gabriel. And if we weren't in for Gabriel, does that mean we're not even in for a left-sided centre-back, which we should be in for? It's an odd situation at Manchester United. I expect there to be movement. I said it this morning, but every time you feel something's happening, they're putting the fire out and they're sitting back, relaxed. It's very weird, very weird. It's very, very quiet around Manchester United at the moment. Whether you want to know from sources or you want to know from the press or whatever you want to trust, it's ridiculously quiet around Manchester United at the moment. There's nothing coming out, which is odd because they leak like a sieve. So to me, that says we're not actually doing anything at the moment. I feel sorry for Ollie. He deserves to be backed, says Andreas. And in a vacuum, would you rather have Van der Beek or Grealish if the money wasn't an issue? Thanks for answering the Fred question, says Ellie Gill. I'd take Van der Beek. Hi, Mark. If Sancho goes to Barca or Madrid next year, would you go for Dybala or Griezmann? God, no, Rabbit Masson, I wouldn't. And saying you relax when the fans are panicking might be worse than telling your bird to calm down when she's annoyed at you, says Julian. I wouldn't call him a bird either. That might upset them as well. They're ladies or women. Good evening, Mark. Jan Argafortov seems like he doubts the Sancho deal will happen. Thoughts? I disagree with you on that. I mean, obviously I had a bit of an interaction with Jan on Twitter today. I'm very firm that we're going to sign him, and I think Jan is sort of like, well, remember that Dortmund don't want to sell him. Man United have got to pay the money on the Sancho deal, and at the moment they don't want to do it. So, like always, we're linked with players where other clubs are not in the running. Sancho, Grealish, Van der Beek, so we should get the deals done. Arsenal were in for Gabriel and we lost out, says Mojo. And clubs finished never getting back to where we were with the Glazers. Lucky to get 6th next season, says Billy Bobbins. Keep the questions coming in, by the way. It is Friday night. Hi, Mark. Mark Noble is a great bench option for Matic. Benteke striker option, says Johnny Bologna. Good name, bad opinion. I mean, look, I just wanted to throw it out there. Joe Roden. Let me just check. I wanted to just check on Joe Roden. This is a player. It terrifies me that we might buy him, but it wouldn't surprise me if we did, because it's another Welsh, maybe a Ryan Giggs recommendation. early 20s, done very well for Swansea, right-footed, tall centre-back, Brexit FC. It's gone very quiet on him, but I wouldn't be surprised if United did go and do that deal as yet another British player over a Gabriel or a Benoit Badiashile. So keep your eye on that. I'm not going to say anything more about that, but I just thought about it today. It's gone very quiet on him, but rest assured, United definitely like him. So, you know, we literally could just buy British. Rodon, Grealish and Sancho. Saying, yeah, you're done that one. And hi, Mark, I've done that one as well. And United get linked with everyone, so the fact we aren't getting linked is scary, as you said, Mark, says Jerome T. Green. Yeah, and further to that Manchester Evening News article I was talking about, again, they reiterated that United's priority is Sancho, but they'll look at Douglas Costa or Kingsley Coman on loan. But we already know, I mean, this is obviously for the Manchester Evening News to keep mentioning, and David Brooks was mentioned again, for the Manchester Evening News to keep mentioning Brooks, Koeman and Costa, it terrifies me. It absolutely terrifies me. I mean, if I ask you in the live comments to name 3 decent Jadon Sancho backups, you're going to give me names like Adama Traore. You're going to give me names like Leon Bailey. You're going to give me names like Bernadeschi. You're going to give me names like Chiesa. You're going to give me names like Wilfried Zaha. You're going to give me names like Memphis Depay. You're going to give me players that aren't as good as Jadon Sancho, and I don't want them, but they are players that you go, well, they're quite good players. Are you going to give me Kingsley Coman, who's not going to leave Bayern Munich? Are you going to give me Douglas Costa, who jokes about his own injury record? Are you going to give me David Brooks, who is a Bournemouth player? Like, you know, this is what panics me about Manchester United. The Jadon Sancho alternatives that we've clearly been briefed, because everybody's talking about them, are awful. Like, if we're not getting Sancho, can we please... And I think we will, but we're not... The scary thing is, if for some miraculous reason United mess this up, and many people think they can, we might end up with Douglas Costa on loan next season. Mr. Bloody injury prone. We're not going to get Kingsley Coman anyway, because he's not going to leave Bayern Munich. Or we might buy David Brooks. And this is the incompetence compounded, if that's true, because Zaha, Traore, Leon Bailey, you know, all these players are way better than those options. And this, you just panic. It just terrifies me what happens in the scouting meetings at Manchester United, that you go from Jadon Sancho to considering David Brooks or Douglas Costa. You know, it's mad. It really is mad. But look, we'll get Sancho. Mark, what about the rumours linking United with Sergio Reguilon? Rubbish, I think, Abrab. I think they're absolute crap. I think it's marker, so I don't think there's anything in it. Thank you and welcome to David Hunt, latest member of the United Stand Members Club. I can see we've got a lot of badges in the live comments, like James Gavin, and also I saw some more there. Yep, Rasmus. Thank you for joining the Members Club. You can do that by clicking the join button, supporting the channel, get your badge next to your name that changes every month you're a member, get access to our emojis, etc. and community tab. We don't do Patreon or any of this pay wall stuff, so thanks for supporting the channel. And of course, it helps us do the get-togethers. We can't wait to do again. The last get-together we did was London, which is a year ago, and we had 3 others planned in a year. And obviously, the Christmas one got cancelled for undue circumstances, and the one in March was Dublin, which we had to cancel because of COVID, which is booked. We're ready to go on the Dublin one, and it will be free tickets. So thanks everyone who joins and supports the channel. Remen Haaland, we failed to get... remember Haaland? We failed to get him and panicked Bortogalo during the last hours. Why don't we learn from our mistakes? I fear the same last week panic, says Darshan. And Mark, why are you so confident about the Sancho deal? I understand it could still happen, but all signs are pointing towards no, says Jerome T. Green. And David Brooks as an alternative to Sancho is like Angela Merkel as an alternative to Gal Gadot for next Wonder Woman movie. And very good comment from John Hillman. I like the comparison. Thoughts on Chelsea being linked to Donnarumma, says Salah Ahmed. I mean, look, how many players is that Chelsea have bought now if they get Donnarumma? It's just excellence in... It's precision in the detail. It's ruthlessness in the execution. They go out, they get it, and they get good qualities, and they don't mess about. And the best thing about Lampard is pre-season training starts, and he's got all these players as well. It's absolutely fantastic what Chelsea are doing. I'm envious, and I don't like doing that, but I'm envious of Liverpool winning a Premier League title. I'm envious of what Chelsea have done this summer. You know, Man United fans shouldn't have to feel like that, and I do. I do feel envious of it. I don't think it's good enough at all. Roden and James, a relegation fodder club, should stop taking Giggs' advice, says Bienan. The board, says Jarwin Daniel, isn't even financially prudent, not wanting to pay the right price for good players but handing inflated pay packages to Deadwood. Also, Bruno Part, did we really get a fair deal on any signings in the last 3 years? I think that's a very good point. I mean, just going back to, I have said this before, but look, it never does any harm to reiterate something. Please smash a like on the video if you're watching, by the way, and subscribe to the channel if you're new, bottom right-hand corner. Obviously, we'll go live if there's any breaking news. Morning transfer show, 8 o'clock every night. Thanks for everyone who's tuning in. Love the United stand. Keep it up. Shout out to Tom, please, Mark, says Chris Bennett. Tom Soot, or Soot Ill. But anyway, what I was going to say is that people keep asking me why I'm so confident on Sancho, and remember, I have been like this for. I mean, look, the scary thing is, don't do this if you want to upset yourself, but if you go and check my Twitter today, the gif with the sloth doing something slow is quote tweeting a Fabrizio Romano tweet from, I think, the 3rd of August. I'll read you the tweet out. Let me just get it. It's going to depress you, but look, this just shows you. Fabrizio Romano, tier 1. Absolute. When he says it's going to happen, it's going to happen. This is from August the 4th. Manchester United and Dortmund are in talks again. The two clubs are confident to find an agreement soon about the final fee. Add-ons and instalments included. Personal terms agreed until June 2025. Work in progress. That's Fabrizio Romano on August the 4th, basically saying the deal is there. You can almost touch it. The detail, the 2025, the personal terms, the talk of instalments. It's there. It's so there on August the 4th from Fabrizio Romano. And I tell you what, I've already said, if this deal falls apart, I'll do the video and I will go in big time on the club. And that's not a threat. I think everyone's going to feel like that. Because this is not, like Bruno last year, the sinking of the boat off Mallorca, the metaphorical boat, of course. To be fair, I knew United wanted Bruno last summer, but it wasn't really in the press. This has been in the press. This has been in the tier 1 press. This has been so close. And so people ask me why I'm confident. Well, there's stuff like that. There's stuff I've been told. There's conversations I've had with people, and it is so close. It's as close as it was then. And it's been that close for so long. It's like, it's not speculation. It's not all hyped up. Like, United have been negotiating with Dortmund. It's been that close. And the reason it's not crossed the line is because Dortmund are just saying, you've got to pay this money. And United are going, and they're going to have to pay it. And as I said maybe a couple of weeks ago, you can't be sympathetic to United's situation because they knew Sancho's contract situation and they knew what Dortmund would want 3 months ago. And they still went into negotiations. And if they went into negotiations thinking they could drive Dortmund down, having known what Dortmund have done over the years, then that's scary incompetence that I don't even want to talk about. So for me, there's loads of evidence about how close the deal is. There's loads of evidence that Sancho wants to come to United and that United wants Sancho. The only thing stopping it is probably the Glazers and the fee. But I don't think United can walk away from this deal either. The pelters they will take, they can't go back to January. So they'll get this deal done. I just don't know when it will happen, but they'll get this deal done, and I'm 90% sure they'll get it done. So that's the reasoning behind it. I reckon Sancho is always done. Otherwise, you don't think Chelsea would have signed him by now. Man United just delaying for the sake of PR, says Sheikh. And Orba hat-trick tomorrow, says Amy Assey. Don't care. I like Fred, but it also comes down to that there's no chance we'd bring anyone else in his place. Same for Lingard. We need depth without transfers activity, says Daniel Luciano. And Sancho will fit into the plan for our longevity of success. Gives us at least 10 prime years. We've paid loads for 2 to 3 good years. We need this done. And Joe and Daniel, the board isn't even financially... We've read that one, haven't we? I mean, I agree with what Michael said. He says, I agree with you that Sancho will get done, but I also feel a pain in my heart about how crap we are at transfers. And I totally and utterly, I mean, Ethan Webb says it's all on me. I love this. I've got to smile. And you've made me smile, actually, Ethan. Thank you. Because I love this when I do a preview and I predict we're going to win and then we lose and it's my fault, you know. So if we don't sign Jadon Sancho, it's my fault, despite the fact that United have been in heavy negotiations, and if they fuck it up, they fuck it up. It's nothing to do with me. If I was in negotiations, Jadon Sancho would be running around Carrington right now because I'd pay the money. That's what I would do. So it's got nothing to do with me or you. It's going to be down to the club, and they're going to have to reap the whirlwind, aren't they? If it doesn't happen. But I do agree with the previous comment. You know, regardless of when the Sancho deal gets done, for me it's taken too long, and for me they've failed in this transfer window. I think Chelsea have absolutely bantered us, not deliberately. I don't think Chelsea. All Chelsea have tried to do is close the gap on Liverpool and Man City, and they've done it in a very, very, very good way. But in the process of doing that, they've exposed Manchester United for the football club that they are. And it's scary that you get news coming out of Man United that they're relaxed. I mean, what a bunch of arrogant people. They're sat relaxed while the club that finished in 4th is ruthlessly acquiring quality to support their manager and going to this season with momentum. And our club is sat there relaxed, like they know what they're doing. Like, you know, are we as Manchester United fans meant to trust this board then? Are we meant to be sat there going, don't worry what Chelsea are doing, United are relaxed, we can trust this board, they've been efficient for ever since Sir Alex Ferguson left. They're a bloody joke. They are a joke. And if they're sat there relaxed, it just shows a total arrogance and lack of interest in you. Because you are their customer. Manchester United fans are the customers of these people. The board might love how much money rolls in and the shareholders and the dividends. They might love all that. But without you, they don't get that. You're the customer and the customer is always right. So them sitting back like they've got the power, like we are relaxed about what we're doing, maybe open up your bloody ears. If Neil Ashton is the king of spin, start spinning your plates, Neil. Start telling those people in that club. You might want to listen to your fan base. You might want to listen to the morale of the fan base. You might want to get off your arse and start running a football club instead of running a business for those Americans who really don't give a shit about Manchester United unless the money's rolling in. And the best thing about it all is, if United was successful, you'd make more money than you do trying to make us not successful to shave the profits off. We would make way more money. Our fan base will disintegrate over the next 10 years if we keep the way we are going. We are still living the legacy of Sir Alex Ferguson's success. Acquisition of new fans is important. It sounds odd because how do you acquire new fans? But actually, how do new people be born and old people die? It's a rotation of people. So we're United fans watching here, and we're going to be United fans for 10, 20, 30 years. We are. But what about the next wave of United fans? What about the youngsters? Because I see it, you know, when I'm out and about, I see, you know, people playing football in different tops. I don't see as many Man United shirts as I probably did 10 years ago, 15 years ago. I see Man City shirts. I see Chelsea shirts. You know, I see Liverpool shirts. And United and the Glazers will erode our fan base. We won't notice it for 10 years, but in 10 years' time, you'll see less and less United fans and more of our rivals, because people will not support United. They will go and think, well, Messi's at Man City. Look at Chelsea. Oh, they're such an exciting club. And also, Chelsea are very clever. Chelsea have bought the German market. They've got the American market with Pulisic. Chelsea are a very, very good business model. And, you know, Man United at the moment, unfortunately, we're just a vehicle for profit. Apart from Sancho, one deal I wish was correct is Tonali for 30 million would be a class signing. Ben, again, I've got to go with that. I've got to go with Fabrizio on this one. He's just saying there's no chance. I would love Tonali at Manchester United. Make Messi leave Barca. Might go for Sancho. Imagine Neymar back at Barca and Neymar and playing with Sancho, says Zane. Forget the government petitions. We need to get on started. Goldbridge for sporting director. You have more sense than anyone at the club, says Marcus Wynn. Well, you know, it's not sense, is it? It's a passion. You've all got it as well. You want United to be successful on the pitch. I don't feel that that is the driver at Manchester United, and I don't think it has been for 15 years, to be honest. I think Sir Alex Ferguson was was a genius, and I think his passion made us successful despite the Glazers. But I don't think there's a manager in the world that can do what he did, and I think that's why we're struggling to be successful, because Sir Alex Ferguson could do it with very little resources. I don't think there's managers these days that can do it without the investment. That just doesn't seem to be efficient. Honestly, I don't like the way Chelsea are doing it. Man United does things differently, good or bad. He even only one player this window rather than 7, says Harold Holst Fairford. I mean, I just totally disagree with you on that, mate. I mean, that just sounds like a pro-Glazer statement. Oh, I don't want to be Chelsea buying players that they need. I'd rather we got 1 a year when we need 4. Zayn Miassi, Mark, start a United stand franchise in other countries. You'll become bigger than MCDs, says Zayn Miassi. And Mark, there's a major event about to happen that impacts the stock market and the Glazers' money. The US elections. Many are predicting a crash, says Nick P. And it's scary seeing news of Rashford and Williams having injuries, says Afiq. If we don't get new signings, it may come back and bite us. I can't help feeling anxious. And what are your thoughts on Algerian left centre-back playing in Germany? He's expressed an interest with United. Muzz. I've never heard of him, Nicola K. Never heard of him. So I can't give you any comments on that one, unfortunately. Just looking at other things. Yeah, Manchester United's first game of the season against Crystal Palace, obviously. They've bought a player today. 19th of September, it's a 5:30 kickoff. So our first game of the season will be a 5:30 kickoff, which is 3 weeks tomorrow. The best thing we as fans can do to deter this behaviour from the board in the future is not give them positive social interactions if they buy Sancho, says Brooklyn. But yeah, but come on, you know. If we buy Jadon, if I get a phone call now saying Sancho's official, right, sit down, you sit down, you sit down, you sit down, shut up, suck it, Sancho's coming to United, you know, magnified by about 100. So to say I wouldn't interact, I wouldn't be able to help it. Nobody would be able to help it. So that's not going to happen, is it? They know this as well. They know that for all the frustration, if they sign Sancho on the last day of the transfer window, we'll all forget about it and we'll all be excited. It's not enough, but that's what will happen. Galatasaray Fred, Gabriel pressure Arsenal. Yeah, so we've spoken about that. But yeah, the situation with Manchester United and Jadon Sancho is, I'm still totally confident this deal will happen. It's so close, you can always touch it. But the information I have got is that there is no bid for Jadon Sancho gone in from Manchester United. And it is very quiet in Germany. They are not expecting Sancho to go at the moment in time. There's no indication that's going to happen. And it's ridiculously quiet around Manchester United as well. And also, if a bid had gone in, Fabrizio Romano would know. So that's where we are with it at the moment. It doesn't mean the deal's not happening. As I've said to you many times this week, I can't tell you when it's going to happen. Nobody can tell you when it's going to happen. There's a very strong feeling that it will amongst those in the know, but there is no indication as to when it's going to happen. It's very, very quiet about it. And look, you know what? If you want to jump on things about Zaha, it would be very nice and logical for Dortmund to sign Zaha and United to get Sancho. And I really hope that's going to happen. But there is no indication that that's going to happen at this moment in time. It's very, very, very quiet. But I reckon Zaha is going to leave Palace because they've bought that Eze, and a lot of them think, well, they're going to play together. I think Zaha will leave there. But I was told something a couple of weeks ago that Zaha will go to PSG. So I hope he goes to Dortmund. I really do hope he goes to Dortmund. But that's what I've been told, is that's what's going to happen. He's going to go to PSG. So we will see what happens with that. Just taking a note for something tomorrow. Bit of admin. I have a nightmare that next season Arsenal will be finishing ahead of us. Lee Taylor, if we go back into those days, I'm going to cry. And Alex says, I don't think Glazers does even care if we will have any fans after 10 years. They're going to suck as much money as they can from the club, and in 5 to 6 years just leave United like a sunken ship. I mean, my only hope with that, and thanks for the contribution from Joshim, my only hope with that, Alex, is that if the Glazers want to sell United, you need to sell United at the highest possible price. And at the moment, I don't think our price is as high as it could be. And the only thing that's going to increase that price is if the club gets better. So that's my only hope with that, is that it does get better. Probel says that nobody's coming in. I think that is ridiculous. That is a ridiculous stance. I mean, this isn't rocket scientist at all, but Manchester United was so rocked about what happened in January. People turning up at Ed Woodward's house, the chanting in the stadium. They really, look, understandably, I thought it was way too far. I know some of you didn't. I know the vast majority did. It was bad. And Manchester United Football Club, internally and externally, made it be known that they were shocked and horrified by that sort of behaviour. Do you really think, and let's be honest, since then they've brought Bruno in, we've finished third in the league, we've done lots of positive things PR-wise. Do you really think United are going to throw all that in the bin to do sod all in the transfer market when the manager has openly spoken about signing players? When high-end, credible sources have said we're in for a very good signing? Do you think United are going to go, no, we're not buying anybody? And also, look, somebody just said it in the live comments, but they'll hide behind COVID-19. You can't hide behind COVID-19. You can't. We're not Leyton Orient. We're Manchester United. We can't hide behind COVID-19. It exists. And it has caused a global financial crisis. But we've been in debt for 15 years. Losing a bit of money to Man United. You can't say to the fans, oh, we can't buy anybody because we're going to lose a bit of money. You've had us in hundreds of millions of pounds of debt for years. What's another £100 million of debt? You can afford it. So it's not an excuse. To be honest, Sancho alone this window is still a massive failure, but bulk of the fan base will instantly forgive the Glazers and Woodwards when that happens, says Beman. Yeah, you're probably right. I don't think it's enough, but I'll be over the moon if we get Sancho. But it isn't enough. It really isn't. And of course, look, we desperately need a left-sided centre-back for the reasons that have been stated so many times. But we also need a centre attacking midfield for the reasons stated. But, come on. If your eyes weren't open to that, look at the situation. Pogba's got coronavirus. Harry Maguire is probably going to have this court case over his head for maybe months, maybe even a year. Is his head really going to be in the situation it needs to be? Rashford's picked up another injury. We've had very little break between last season. We're going to get in. We're not going into this season in a strong situation, are we? And just on Harry Maguire, the defence, this was disappointing today. The defence prosecution lawyer has seen what Harry Maguire said on the BBC last night. I'd sort of hope that the Greeks would look at it and go, you know what, this isn't worth it, let's leave it. They're not. They're actually saying he's lying. He did know it was a police station. He ran off and left this. Some of the stuff they've said is really antagonistic and aggressive because they are obviously adamant that Harry Maguire is now lying. So, Harry Maguire might feel better and grateful for the support, and we've got to support our player, as I said this morning. But this ain't going away. There's still going to be those people calling him a liar. And he's still going to have that stress that he's going over to that country to have that trial at some point, and if he gets found guilty, he's going to have it hanging over his career. So Harry Maguire is a concern. I hope he's mentally strong enough, and I hope he's got the people around him, and that's why he needs people like us around him to support him, because we need him to do a job on the pitch. Of course, the human is more important than the player on the pitch, but I don't know Harry Maguire, and I wish him all the best. But from a Manchester United Football Club, we also need Harry Maguire on the pitch, and is he going to be in that space to be able to do that? It's going to take a lot of mental character from Harry Maguire to do that. And, injuries as well. It's not the best start to the season for Manchester United, is it? And, again, this is why I think some players would have been very, very useful. Daniel Phillips says maybe it's true about Maguire lying, not saying he's 100% guilty, but when there is no smoke, there is no fire. Well, but that's the problem. People are going to believe that, aren't they? As I said this morning, I choose to believe what Harry Maguire said in his interview. He's a Manchester United player, and I'm going to back him. And that's just what I'm going to do personally. I think it's the right thing to do. Imagine if we get Messi right wing, says Prabble. United won't get Messi. If we got Messi, part of me would be a little bit worried anyway, because I think Sancho's more important because of the longevity. But, look, the next thing, prepare yourself for it, is that we'll stay relaxed doing nothing and Messi will be at Man City next week. And then you're going to go, wow, Liverpool were unbelievable last season. Man City have now added Messi. Chelsea have added half a team, and we're still relaxed and happy with our situation. It would be... I'm going to have to get off and have a drink because it stresses me. It stresses me, the ownership of our football club. I don't moan to have a moan. You don't moan to have a moan. I have a moan because I love Man United and I want us to be successful on the pitch. And ultimately, I can just see what we are. We're a business. We're not a football club. We've got all these fans. We might disagree, but we all agree on one thing. We want Man United to be successful. We love this football club and we want to be proud of it on the pitch. And every manager seems to be doing it with two arms tied behind the back because the owners are inept. I'm not even bothered about the Glazers selling the club. I don't care. I'll back the Glazers if they do. If they, Roman Abramovich does it. Man City's owners do it. Liverpool's owners do it. They want to be successful on the pitch. If the Glazers demonstrated a real passion to be, successful on the pitch, I would back them. Second chances, whatever. I would back them. But I just don't see them doing that. The only evidence they ever show is that they want to make money out of the club. And it's so hard. It's so hard to just go into most seasons just knowing that we're not going to be where we should be. We should be fighting for first every year. We shouldn't be talking about whether we're going to be able to get fourth before a ball's even kicked. How does it matter if we get Sancho towards the end of the transfer window? We're up for a very bad start to the season. Would be surprised otherwise, says Jagan. And we will take advantage of the market by Ollie has aged like a fine wine, says Darshan Yu. Yeah, well, Ollie did say that, didn't he? And it has come back to haunt us. Anyway, look, let's all enjoy our Friday night. It is Friday night. It's a bank holiday weekend in the UK, which means Monday is a bit like Saturday, Sunday. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new. Bottom right-hand corner. We've got lots of people watching. If you smash a like on the video, we'll probably hit 5,000 likes. Thanks for all the people who've joined as a member by clicking the join button, and thanks for all your support as ever. I mean, for me, this is therapy, so I hope it is for you. It's a very stressful time. If you love the club, it's a very stressful time, isn't it? So, thank you everybody for your ears and comments. It certainly helps me. Relaxed FC, says Coley. Yeah, let's just hope something starts happening. I'll speak to you all soon. And did you hear Ronaldo considers coming back to United? Don't even start Forever PVM. Just don't. I'll speak to you all soon. Thanks for watching.